This is a brand new tool from TSO. It's their multi-function bench fence and stop, designed specifically for the Smart Woodshop fam and this Paulk Smart Bench. That's a bit of a stretch, actually. It is designed for any MFT table, whether you have the Festool design, one of my designs, or your own shop design. As long as it works on the 20 millimeter holes, spaced 96 millimeters apart, this fence will work. As we've come to expect with all TSO tools, it is manufactured of the highest quality materials to the tightest tolerances, including their laser etching for the scales, including metric and standard. With TSO's striking blue and bright white, the scale is really easy to read. The precision flip stop is very easy to set accurately. Loosen the dial on the top and right on the edge, move it right up to the line, and you'll see the white, whatever mark you're going for, until the white just disappears. No parallax error, and you know you'll be dialed in. TSO makes two lengths, a 900 millimeter and a 1200 millimeter. Install the adjustable bench dogs. They also have a spring on the screw, so just a simple push in gives you enough space to slide it in the track. Now they can easily be slid up and down the track to adjust to fit your particular needs. In my case, I have this set of bench dogs set up for the track. And again, they can go anywhere as long as they're in line, and then the track drops on and I get my cut right here. So what I want to do is calibrate it so that when I set my dimension on the face of the fence, that whatever I set here, that'll be the cut that I get there. So there is a little bit of calibration here to figure out what that is. In my case, I'm putting it in the second hole back, so I've got the dogs here, this hole back. I could come further back, but that works well for me. For this end, it doesn't really matter where it goes. I started with it all the way down on the end, but I'll show you one of the advantages to going ahead and setting it a little further in, so there's a little more cantilever there. That's done. In my case, I want to elevate it the 18 millimeters. But if you cut directly on your bench, then you would set it up to be flat on your bench. So I'll lift it up, sitting on top of my sacrificial strips, the 18 millimeter. I've got the height right where I want it. So now it's a matter of moving it in and out so that the stop is calibrated exactly where I need it. For my initial calibration, I took a quality square, this starette, so I know it's accurate, and I set it on 250 millimeters. You can also set it up with standard dimensions. You set up one way, the other way is going to be set up automatically. With my track locked on tight to these bench dogs, now I'm going to take my square and push it in until it's snug up right against the cutting surface of the track. I've set the stop on the TSO fence up to 250 millimeters, and now I'm just going to slide it up until that stop touches the end of my square, and then lock everything in. To make sure I got it right, I took a piece of scrap. This piece I'm going to set at 18 inches. Exactly 18 inches. The MFT fence is not limited to just being an MFT fence. They really thought the tool out. The dogs can also be mounted in this top track here, laying the track flat on the bench instead of up vertical and tall. In that orientation, you can deal with thinner materials, but also you can use it as a guide for a router, and it can be used with the stop moved over so that you can set it up for layout. For example, if you're doing domino work, you can have your material up to it flat and have your domino right up against it. The fence has so many other uses that would require moving these bench dogs for different positions. I knew that I would have to calibrate it when I wanted to set it back up for this operation. So I went ahead with it set up and calibrated and checked with my blocks, and I came up with, in my case, 15 millimeters. So all I have to do now is drop these two blocks on with the track locked in and just slide this up until it just touches, tighten them down, and I know that I'll get my exact calibration. I mentioned when I was installing the dogs on the back that I moved the back one in a few holes and cantilevered out the rail. And the reason I did that was the length of cut is limited to a roughly 1160 millimeters, or about 45 3/4 inches, somewhere right in there. And I may want to cut longer than that. With this bench dog forward, I can move this back until I'm in the last hole here. And now I've extended my cutting length. Now my calibration doesn't work anymore. I'll need to figure out what dimension. I'd probably pull a tape measure. But I also know that I've moved it back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. So I've moved it back exactly 5 times 96. So I could do the math on that and just add it to the dimension here. Or again, I could just grab a tape, pull it right off the tip, and figure out what I want to cut, set it. Because obviously, if I'm setting this up for that, I'm doing it for repeat cuts. So set it up once and then make all my cuts. If you're working with a shorter bench like the Festool MFT bench, you may need to hang it out even further and then have your bench dog in. You can just move it in closer. And there are threaded holes in the bottom of these dogs. And you can pick up the optional TSO speed knobs. You'll want to lock those in because you'd be cantilevered out there. I don't need to use them in this situation because again, I'm not putting any weight out here that might cause it to lift a little bit. And when you have it cantilevered out this far, your material is going to be hanging out. TSO thought about that and they have an optional material support. And now the material hanging out there will be supported right on this, right where it needs to be. With the speed knob under there holding that down, then that's going to support your material. With any MFT table, because the 20 millimeter holes are spaced 96 millimeters in both directions, that means your diagonal holes are going to be exactly 45. So if you want to take your fence and use it to cut 45s, it's just as simple a matter of rotating it around. I leave my front bench dog right where it is so I don't mess up my calibration. And the back one, loosen it just a little bit. And again, I'm right across there, so I know that that's going to be perfect 45. And if I want to make repetitive 45s, I'll set my stop. And now I can make a 45, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to mess up a perfectly good piece of material. If being locked into 90 and 45 is not enough for you, and you already have the TSO MTRX triangle, then they have an attachment, an accessory you can purchase that screws right onto a couple of threaded holes on that triangle, and then you can slide your fence, and now you have an adjustable angled fence. Lock that in, and again, you can either use your flip stop or just flip it out of the way and get your whatever angle you're going for. If you'd like to get your hands on a TSO Multifunction Bench Fence, then I will put a link in the description of this video down below. It is an affiliate link, so if you use it, TSO will compensate us a little bit for telling you about it. They're not a sponsor of the channel. We have no sponsors. We work strictly for the Smart Woodshop fam, and I only talk about stuff on this channel that I personally use and like. And if you'd like to build a Paulk Smart Bench, a Smart Station, any of the accessories that work with the system or the Smart Woodshop itself, there'll also be a link for that in the description of this video. If you like this video and you got anything out of it, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. But the most important thing you can do to help us grow is to share this video with somebody you know. Stay safe in your Smart Woodshop. I'll see you in the next one. Mahalo.